Hello everybody. Thought I'd give you a little quick update on the chicks. And I've seen such an uptick in people getting chicks in the Facebook groups that I'm in, and I can only guess that's because of egg prices and food shortages and all the stuff going on in the world now. I see a lot more people getting into chickens for the first time. So I thought it might be a good idea to give the newbies a few tips that will just help your chicks thrive and do well. And one of the most important things I think that you can do or that you need when you bring chicks home is a heat source, food and water. Sounds simple, but I think a lot of people, don't understand how vital it is that they have a heat source. If you're going to bring them in your house, you might be thinking, oh, it's 70 to 75 degrees in my house, that should do the trick. It's not. They need to be at about 90 to 95 degrees their first week of life. You can start to lower it a little bit after that, 85 to 90, 80 to 85 as the weeks go on, but their bodies are very tiny and they cannot maintain their own heat. I highly suggest a brooder plate. Now, I had a brooder plate and it broke. It broke the last time I had my other set of chicks, so I haven't gotten another one. I did have this heat lamp as a backup, and so that is what we're using. I don't like a heat lamp. They're really not safe. They can start a fire, but if you have that, and the reason that I'm not going to buy another brooder plate is because it is going to probably be a very, very long time before I have chicks again. So, I mean, if ever. I'm not a spring chicken myself, so I don't know. But we'll wait and decide on that later if we get more. But if you are going to use a heat lamp, I don't like it to be in a coop simply because there is a lot of dust. There's tons of pine shavings. There's just a lot of things that can happen. So I feel a little bit better with this being inside, just simply because I'm constantly in here keeping an eye on things. But if you're going to use one, make sure that you've got the right, I don't know what this is called, receptacle or what have you, surround. Don't get one of those little cheap ones because it won't be able to handle it and it will melt it or melt the inner workings of it, and that can start a fire. So you want to be really careful about that. One of the other things that I highly suggest getting, if you don't have one, and this thing comes in handy for a lot of things, is just a little laser temperature gauge. I don't know what it's called, but you can just point it and it will tell you what the temperature is. So when the heat lamp is on, I just turned it off. When you have it on, if I point it into that box, it'll be about 92 degrees in there. But one of the things I see a lot of people doing in some of these Facebook groups I'm in is they put them in a small container and then they sit the lamp up on top of a screen or something, and these babies have nowhere to get away from the heat. So they also need that. Even if you have them in something small, your heat needs to be on one side so that the babies can get away from it if it's getting too hot for them. So just be aware of that. I will see people say, oh, a couple of my chicks have died, and then they'll show their setup, and you know why. They've gotten just way, way too hot. So you definitely would do good to have one of those little laser thermometers. So also, when you first bring them home and you take them out of that box while you're holding that chick in your hand, take it to your water source and dip their beak in it because they're going to be thirsty. I would say when you get them from the hatchery, 9 out of 10 times they're going to immediately start drinking because they've been stuck in a little box for a day or two and they're thirsty. So you want to make sure that your dish is shallow enough if you're going to use something like I've got. Make sure it's something they can't step into and fall down in and drown. So you want it to be shallow so that you're not going to come home and find or walk into the room and find a chick drown. That would be just horrible. And you also want, you want to show them that, and then just have their food source close by because they'll be able to find that easy enough. I mean, if it's right there. I like to put my food for little bitty chicks in a shallow dish like this. I don't care if they step in it. I don't care if they poop in it. I keep it cleaned out. But if you use a feeder, like the ones that you might find in Tractor Supply, those plastic ones, and they're sort of cylindrical, and you drop the food down into it, they can actually fly up onto that and fly inside of it. And if you're not home for a while and they're near the heat source and it's 95 degrees in there, they can dehydrate enough to die in the course of a few hours. So you definitely don't want that to happen either. So that's why I just put their food in a bowl, even though they're messy. Something else that I think no one will tell you, you know, until you read it on the internet somewhere or find it in a video somewhere, is something else that is vitally important to watch out for is something called Pastybutt. And Pastybutt is exactly what it sounds like. It's when they poop and it sticks to their feathers, and then they can poop again and that sticks to their feathers, and before you know it, their little rear end is closed up and they won't be able to poop, and that will also kill them. So you need to be very careful of that. If you see one actually poop and it sticks to their feathers, just get it off right then. If you wait and it's dried on there, and a lot of times you're not going to catch it and it will be dry, you're going to need to be just extremely gentle. Their skin is very fragile. So I would say just really, really watch that you know, that you're being really careful getting it off. Just take a warm cloth or something like that and just work it a little bit. Don't pull, because you're going to pull their feathers out and you just don't want to harm them in any way. And then another thing that, you know, I've had chicks for a long time and chickens, and it's something that I just, you know, have known for many, many years. But a lot of people, you know, if this is their first chicks, they don't know this. When they eat, their food goes into what's called their crop first, and that is located slightly to the right on like their breast, their chest area. The food's going to go in there and it's going to cause what looks like a little bulge. You can see it right there on Alice's little chest. Here, she's the one right in the front. You can see that she's got like a little, it's almost like a little grape in there. That is just their food, and it's perfectly normal. But I'll see a lot of people say, I think my chick has got a tumor on its chest. And it's not a tumor. You want to see that, because that's showing you that they're eating and that they're, you know, doing well. Yesterday, I actually had a situation where I came in here and checked on everybody, and one of them was not with the other chicks. It was actually Ella. She's the one right there in the front looking toward the camera. And that's my little dark Brahma. And she was just in the box alone, sleeping. Everyone was out. They were playing. And I just thought, you know, maybe she's tired, but I'm going to keep a closer eye on her. And about 30 minutes later, I checked on him again, and she was still sleeping. So I picked her up, and her crop was completely empty, and she was just very lethargic. Now, I couldn't begin to say why she wasn't eating. I have no idea. But what you want to try in that situation, and this is why you need to be as hands-on as you can with your chicks and pay very close attention to them when they're this age. For whatever reason, she wasn't eating. So what you're going to want to do in that situation is go get some egg yolk. Put it in a dropper and just put it on the side of their beak, and they'll take it in on their own. I gave her about a half a cc. About an hour later, I gave her another half a cc. Did you lose your friends for a second? And I did that, I think about 5 times yesterday, and that just perked her back up, got her appetite stimulated again, and she was, you know, now she's pretty much back to normal. I think they're ready for me to turn their heat back on. But another thing that I think is important, it's important for me. If I bought 20 or 30 chicks, this would definitely be more difficult. With this number of chicks that I have, though, it's not difficult at all, is to just be really hands-on with them, and that is going to make all the difference when they're adults. I can touch mine, I can pick them up. If anything is going wrong, if you see an injury, if you see, you know, just something that you need to check out, it just makes it a whole lot easier instead of having to chase your chickens down in the middle of the yard. If you free rangers like we do and you need to put them up in the middle of the day for some reason, hang on, I'm going to plug their light back in. You look like you're getting chilly. If you have that situation where you just need to look at one of them, and sorry guys, it's just a lot easier. If you're going to put them away during the day, you can just pick them up and put them in their pan, because trust me, they don't like to go back up. They're going to want to run from you. So that sort of thing just makes things easier in the long run. So I think I probably hit on a lot of the things that are pretty important to raising healthy, happy chicks. And now they're all tired. They've been running around in here. I've been letting them kind of come out of their pen, and now I gotta clean up some poop. Right, guys? But they're doing great. Little Ella is all back to normal again. So if you guys are enjoying watching our little chicks grow and seeing our big, beautiful girls outside, please like and subscribe. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. See you next time.